Alright everyone, I'm in my favorite graveyard, and I'm going to bless my Blood Magick Talisman. Now, it's not a talisman yet, but I want to start the process of making it a talisman. It is basically a red crystal on the end of a metal chain. It isn't much, it's a red agate, and I will be using it for Blood Magick. I picked it for its red color, and because I really like agate. I'm really not sure how you say that. Agate? Something like that? No, probably not. But anyway, I'm going to be burying it in this graveyard, in my favorite graveyard, and I'm going to leave it here for about 2 days buried, and then I'm going to come back and dig it back up. I do most of my work with the dead in this graveyard, and it's something that I feel very comfortable with as far as blessing an item with by this graveyard's energy. So I'm going to go ahead and bury that, and then I will retrieve it in 2 days. But we'll go over there right now. Alright, so we're coming up on where I want to bury this thing. It's in a place that I've actually worked with before, this particular grave. You can kind of see that I have worked with it by my leftover blood right there. Now this is very old blood from me. I would say at least 6 months to a year. It's been a while though since I did a little ritual on this one, but I've worked with this grave before. Here is the red agate that I will be burying with the chain. It's let me see if I can put it in the light a little bit more for you. But it's a really great color of red. If I can get, yeah, it's kind of hard to get the camera to focus on that. But anyway, it's basically a pointed crystal, and I'm going to be burying it right here and retrieving it in 2 days. So I'm not going to actually even go that deep. I'm just going to use a spoon because I don't really need to go that deep as long as it's in the earth a little bit. Be careful also digging in graveyards if people see you, as far as the law goes. Well, I guess somebody could try to undo your work, but that's less likely. Okay, so I'm going to put it into the earth here, and then cover it back up somewhat. Some of the surrounding dirt onto it. Kind of thick grass to work with right now, but it's okay. It just basically needs to be below the surface a little bit and into the, touching the ground, touching the earth. So basically we have its purpose done right now. And I will be retrieving it in 2 days, and I think I'll go ahead and wait until I retrieve it to actually publish this video. But yeah, this is the burial part. Alright everyone, so this is 2 days later, and I'm walking back up to the grave where I shallowly buried my talisman to be, that red agate crystal that you saw just a second ago. Ango Pari, Ango Pari, Ango Pari, Ango Pari. Alright, this might take me a minute. Alright, with some difficulty, I have retrieved the red agate. And just be sure to mark where you bury something, because otherwise you'll be looking around, even if it's shallowly buried. But what I'm going to do next is place it into this bottle right here, and I'm going to put the cork on it. So let me put down the camera for a second while I do that. And this is just to isolate the talisman and make sure that whatever energies it's picked up remain. And I'm actually going to be adding some things to this little bottle later on today. So now that it's in the bottle, I'll be adding some things into the bottle, but you'll see that in just a second. Spirits of this graveyard, do you approve of my actions, or have I offended you? Spirits of this graveyard, I thank you for allowing me to be here today. Spirits of this graveyard, I give and I take, but I will always be sure to give. This is my side of the deal. Goodbye for today, spirits of this graveyard. Alright, so I'm going to write down a rune word right now using Dove's Blood ink. Dove's Blood ink is very potent. It has dragon's blood in it, and if you don't know what Dove's blood ink is, look it up online. It's very easy to look up, but I find it's very potent, and that's what I'm going to be doing this rune word I'm about to create in. I'm going to be painting it with this Dove's Blood ink, with this paintbrush. Now, the two runes I'm going to be using are Degas, 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 Degas. Now, Degas is the rune of the morning, the new day. A new realm of activity has just started, and this is what that rune symbolizes. This is what the rune is. It's that coming from the darkness into the light, reaching a new stage of existence, as we do every day between night and day. But there are times when Degas also rules our lives, when we conquer obstacles, when we become better than we were, when we move forward in a way that puts us on a whole different level than where we were, whether it be financially, mentally, spiritually, or something to do with our past lives and how we're starting to learn the lessons that we've always wanted to learn deep down. Degas can mean a lot of different things, but the symbolism of it is that it represents that breakthrough, that dawn, that sun coming right over the crest of a hill. Now, the other rune I'm going to use in this rune word is Jera. 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 Now, Jera means harvest. And I'm using the Elder Futhark just as just in case you want to look these runes up. But it means harvest. It is that which you gain. It is the fruit of your efforts. As we plow the soil in our lives as well, not just literally. Whatever we plant, however we plant it, it will come to fruition. If we don't plant properly, if we don't prepare properly, if we don't act properly, we can't expect a good harvest. But Jera is that harvest of whatever we plant. Now this is a really good rune to couple with Dagaz, because since I'm actually going to enhance the whole Blood Talisman with my own blood, that is a sacrifice in and of itself, and these two runes in this rune word will help me to reap the benefits completely of sacrificing my own blood to this goal of creating a Blood Magick Talisman that'll help me in my blood magic, connecting to the dead and casting spells. So these are the two runes that I've chosen because they're very appropriate for my purpose. So what I'm going to do, I've painted these two runes into this rune word that is Dagaz Jera, and I've used Dove's Blood ink, of course. I'm going to cut this out, make it smaller, and I'm going to burn it, and then I'm going to place the ashes into the bottle with the crystal. And then we're going to go from there. Dagaz Jera. 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 Now it's time to put some of this Crown of Success oil by Art of the Roots. I got this off of Amazon, and I actually have another bottle by the same company, the same oil, off Amazon that worked very well. So I ordered a whole nother vial of it. I'm not really sure how many grams this is, but it's definitely worth the price. I think it's between 16 and 20, but it really enhances your magical workings and your offerings to the gods. But I'm going to add some of this oil. I've already added the ashes and a little piece of the parchment that was left into this glass bottle with the crystal. That was buried in the graveyard for a couple of days. So I'm going to add some of this oil. I'm not going to add a whole lot. A whole lot isn't necessary. 3, 4, 5 squirts is definitely enough. Definitely enough to capture the essence of the herbs and oil used, and to kind of direct them towards this purpose. It is, after all, called the Crown of Success oil, and I found that it makes spells and workings more successful. So I've added some of that oil, and now for the next step. So now for the final parts, I will be adding my own blood into this bottle here. It's kind of hard to get enough of it into a dripper, so I don't have to do it directly off of my arm, but it works over time. Once again, your blood is your life force, it's your sacred elixir. It's the most powerful thing you can add to a talisman, in my opinion. Now, I can't encourage you to use your own blood, or to use any blood, really. If you're going to use blood, use your own, but I will say that if you're going to do it, make sure that you sanitize yourself well. Make sure you have rubbing alcohol, make sure you have Neosporin and bandages, and make sure not to do a big cut. Use maybe a razor blade or a really thin knife because it doesn't require a lot. Or use, even better yet, a lancet, ear-piercing needle. You can buy those on Amazon too. I know it sounds like I buy a lot of stuff from Amazon, but it's just so convenient, and there's not a whole lot of places around me that really sell a lot of this stuff, so I buy a lot on Amazon. But you can buy lancets on Amazon for piercing needles, or for, originally for ear piercing and stuff like that. It's like $8 for, a pack of a good sized pack, so I highly recommend that. Second best option is razor blades, as I said. But never do very much harm to yourself, only enough to where you can get blood. And do not use syringes unless you're well versed in how to use syringes. That's very important because a lot of people can die if they put air in their veins by using a syringe. So just be very wary of that. But all that being said, there's a reason why I do a lot of blood magic, and it's because it is very potent. And it is only potent if you use your own blood. If you use other people's blood or something else's blood, it can work somewhat, but sacrificing your own sacred elixir through the act of gathering the blood, and then that action being tied to you, that spell, that talisman being tied to you through your own blood, that is what really gives blood magic its potency. By the way, vampirism is something different. And I don't mean the vampires of Hollywood, but the vampire movement. There's a lot of different aspects and different kinds of vampiric kind of people, whether it be psychic, whether it be sanguine, whether it be just social kind of vampire or kind of association with them. But it's not the same as blood magic. It's just not. So that comparison should not be made in any way, shape, or form. So right now I'm going to take this bottle, kind of get a good rubbing from my arm. I'm not going to show you the wound, of course, because that would be too much for YouTube. This is a spiritual and religious act, but I don't see any reason to show you the wound. And be sure if you drink alcohol when you're doing something like this, I would advise that you didn't. But if you're going to, just know that you need to make a much smaller cut because you're going to bleed a lot. That doesn't necessarily apply to me now, but in the past, yes, it definitely applies. And clean bandages and Neosporin are definitely a must-have when you're doing stuff like this. Very simple, but very effective. So what I'm going to do is gather a lot of blood here like I have been. It doesn't even need to be a lot. I've probably gathered more than enough. I have at least, 13 to 18 good drops worth of blood in this bottle at this point. But I just wanted to make sure and solidify this talisman, so I'm just kind of gathering a little bit more. But let me go ahead and plug this up. So what I'm going to do is, this is pretty good sealed, especially with my blood kind of sticking it there. What I'm going to do is kind of shake this up. Get all the components kind of mixed up in there. Turn upside down. Make sure everything's all mixed up. The oil is definitely going to help the blood kind of get all over the crystal in the necklace. Kind of solidify that energy. But what I'm going to do is, now that I have this, I'm going to let it sit for a day. Maybe more, but a day will be enough. And then when I take it out, even if I wash it, it's still going to have the same energy in it. It's still gonna be viable. So don't worry about getting it wet and having to redo this whole thing. Because I may wash the necklace part. I'll keep the blood on the gem. But even if I wash the gem itself, that wouldn't matter because the energy is now... The magic is now cast, the energy is set, and this is going to be a very useful tool, very useful blood magic talisman that I'll use for spells, blood magic, contacting the dead, and just wearing around to give me extra power and strength So, yeah, I'm going to let that sit and not disturb it for about a day. And that's basically the end of the video. You know, I greatly appreciate you watching this video. I know it's something that a lot of people find taboo, and it's kind of it seems counterculture in a lot of ways. But this is definitely a very useful form of magic, blood magic, and I make a lot of videos on it. And if you have any questions, comments, concerns, shoot them down in the comment section below on YouTube. I'd love to hear them. I'd love to answer your questions to the best of my ability. Always be careful. I can't encourage you to do this, but if you're going to do it safely. So thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see all of you on my channel in the future.